guy Chris, right? Chris N. Nice to see you, Chris. All right. Okay, so Chris, you've been introduced to non-duality before, yes? Yeah, so just to be clear, we're just speaking from our own little revelations around it, yes? So non-duality, just take it as the basic definition of non is not, and duality is two. Yeah? So that sense of two-ness, which isn't just like there's one person and two people, it's a whole dynamic of how this activity, let's say, call it dreaming, is read. It's read in a dualistic manner, yes? So the root of the duality is dualism, which is the subject-objectness of our experience here. It's not our experience, but forgive the words. So sometimes you feel like you're thought about, so that way you're pictured as an object. Sometimes you're the thinker. That pictures you as a subject, yes? So there's a strange activity going on. It wasn't seemingly going on in a baby. It seemed to have happened later on when the brain developed. But there was an act of claiming what was going on. So there, let's say as a baby, there was awareness of what was going on. And there was no claiming, yes? It was just happening, verbing, verbing, verbing. Then there was some physical growth and something changed. So life was happening, and then it started to be replaced with life is happening to me, yeah? And the me started to get a much more emphasized position, and how it stays in that position, it's a suggestion that it's you, that you are no other than that which is being thought about, and that which is being pictured as a body, and that which is the thinker, the doer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. Now, when it comes to spirituality, this situation plays a huge role. In most situations, it's sort of underneath the surface, everything's going on. But when you get introduced to non-duality, this activity of subject-objectness and this claiming of what's happening to imply the one, who it's happening to or who's doing it, that seems to come into a much sharper contrast with the message of non-duality than I saw it with any other message. Most other messages include the assumption that you're Paul and that maybe you need to go through a huge purification system or whatever, or you were once that, but you broke off somehow and you're now going to reunite and merge back into the ocean. But there is a sense of giving into that identification as the wave, so to speak, yeah? So, and then the wave gets fed. Let's say if you do this wave, you may have an experience of being the ocean. If you do enough of this wave, maybe you'll even have an epiphany of oceanness, yeah? But there's always a reinforcement of the wave idea, when the whole point of recognizing what you are is seeing what you're not, really, yeah? Because you are already that. But there's an activity that we're seeing from what we're not. So in a way, with this example, the wave gets emphasized searching for the ocean, you see? So what's suggesting the separation gets reinforced when it's yearning for union. You see it? It's very, very clear. So instead of going to another ocean seminar and a long ocean fucking whatever, it gets turned to look at, are you a wave? You know, there's no like, you're not a wave, it's just, are you a wave? Or like the way Ramana would put it is, who am I? Yeah, it's in a way, but see, the who am I isn't to see who am I, it's to see what you're not, yeah? The who am I will negate the false assumption, because when you keep asking it to show up, it doesn't, because what you already are is already here. So you miss what you are because it's always here. You're waiting for something to show up, and when the I that you take yourself to be doesn't show up, you feel like you're getting nothing. That's it. That's the message. You are that. Yeah? You are that silence. You are that present tense state that's not present because it did something through time to arrive there. That's all it is presence. Yeah? So, non-duality in a way, when the wave, aka ocean, enters into the message of non-duality, non-duality basically is negating the wave. Yeah? It's not saying, all right, wave, you found the way, we're going to get you to the ocean faster and quicker, and there'll be, you know, you'll be a bigger wave all the while. It's not saying that. It says, you're not a wave. Yeah? Because basically, it doesn't work to say what you are, because what you're not, the wave is the programming of the wave catches the message, you're the ocean. So the only way the wave hears it is, oh, I can become the ocean, or I once was the ocean, but I am definitely a wave. Yeah, no matter what I hear, there's waveness, and that's where I'm starting from, and that's where I'm going to experience and understand ocean. Yeah? And the whole point is to negate that, because you're not a wave. And maybe if you're not a wave, what will you find out? I don't know, find out. Yeah, I would say you're ocean. Yeah, and it's not like, oh, I was a wave, I was a wave, I was a wave, I was a wave, and then one day I became ocean. No, when the wave is negated, there's a feeling you've always been ocean. You were never a wave. And so then, when the wave appears, which it will, yeah, you won't believe that, oh, when the wave appears, I'm fucking exiled again. No. The wave is a mechanical presentation of a narration, yeah, brought about by the claiming of what's happening. So the mental state claims what's happening, and it frames it as a wave. It's happening to a wave, or the wave is doing it all, yeah? It's going to keep doing that. Your access to what you are isn't based on it stopping that. In other words, you are completely accessible no matter what the fuck's going on. Just the thing is, most of us don't believe so. We believe there are requirements. We believe the wave's got to have to do something. I mean, to become the ocean. I mean, I've been away 50 years. Is it going to be like just swept right under the rug that easy? You know what I mean? And look at everyone else. They're sweating and toiling for their big experiences. Jeez. Then they start convicting you with spiritual bypassing. You're trying to get out of all the suffering and all the work. Yeah, I am. That's the whole freaking point. Why do you think it doesn't show any thought of effort in being here? Because it's being here. What thinks it's somewhere else and it has to do something to be here, it's usually demonstrated or actually magically convinced with thought and effort. Yeah, you believe you did something for this to occur. And if that belief runs deep in the programming, I don't believe there's any necessary purging of that. It's seeing you're not that, really. You're not that which holds these beliefs to be true. There's beliefs that it's true, but you're not that which holds these beliefs to be true. That's the difference, yeah? And so, because all that efforting would reinforce the wave, you see. The most subtlest and the grossest, they're being used to reinforce the wave. Now, do they reinforce the wave? That's based on the ocean, really. If the ocean is taking itself to be the wave, that shit will reinforce the ocean being a wave. If the ocean wakes up to the fact, hey, I may not be a wave, then it's not producing that effect. The ocean stays the ocean, stays the ocean, stays, because it can never not stay the ocean, yes? So no matter what the head says, you're really freaking lost, you know, or you're really getting close, no, yeah, neither, you know what I mean? The whole narration that adds like space and time to this event is dismissed as having any real relevance in your own nature. Your nature has not, it's not arrived at through space and time. You don't have to go to a certain place, and it doesn't have to take any time to get there. This is why wasting time to convince the programming to understand this when that's not its pay scale. The action figure cannot understand the incomprehensible. Yeah, it can. You can describe it all you want, the indescribable, but it's not going to land. It's just going to motivate the head to make up concepts to take the place of that which is already available now. So now you'll have concepts of the truth while you are the truth. So in recovery we call it, and you can see it in spirituality, you got to save your ass instead of your face. But most people think that they're their face. Yeah. So most people think they're the wave, not the ocean. So they're trying to save the wave, not the ocean. Yeah. So here you're trying to save your face and not your ass, this is hopefully an anatomical class, so they get clear what's your ass and what's your face. And you notice your ass is always sitting here and now when it's sitting. Yeah. It's much more reliable fucking compass than the mental. The mental GPS is completely insane. It has you taking the same old route, the same old trough, yeah, and never finding happiness, joy, or freedom. Yeah, but of seeing a huge reflection of yourself in the trough. Yeah. So, yeah. Does anyone hear that so far? Can you hear it? Yes. Good. The volume's up. So this point is, again, what I notice going to meetings innocently, just like I felt like entered every other path, Buddhism and stuff like that, innocently. I had an earnestness and a sincerity to try to get out of what I thought I was in. I didn't realize I wasn't in what I thought I was in, so all the getting out of it was a bigger in. I had no idea. But then, after being in a couple of houses on the spiritual block, I was brought to non-duality, and non-duality has led to the last answer, which was the first answer, and the first answer doesn't need an answer because nothing ever really happened to change anything. Yeah? It sure looks like a lot of shit's happening, I give you that, but nothing ever happened to move you from what you are to what you're not. All it does is the head, you never see that movement. The head says you already are at what you're not. It doesn't say you're going to what you're not. It says that's your starting point, is what you're not. Yeah? The identification as the long-lasting, independent, separate entity, which is an activity that's an implying of something. When it works, you think you've been that something for years. You think that's who you are. It's like a rock-solid false assumption. Seriously. And so if the point is not to stop the head from implying that, but to see it, not from the head, yeah? If you see it from the head, it's going to lead to a sense of powerlessness, and you're apt to do almost anything, like an addict. If an addict checks out a situation, and to the addict, it seems like it's a hopeless state of mind and body it's in, it's going to do fucking anything to get a little relief. Even if it's terrible consequences tomorrow, I want that 5 minutes of forgetting. Yeah? All based on a misperception of something that can seem to be hopeless, but isn't hopeless. This is what's happening with us. Yeah? We're not looking for the truth, we're looking from what we're not. See, that's the dilemma. The drive to look for the truth is based that you're looking from what you're not. If you see what you're not, you won't look for the truth. The truth will become evident, yes? They'll be clear. You're not going to run around to try to get a stamp of approval from certified authorities. You'll feel it in your own freaking gut. Yes, you'll know. Yeah. You'll just know, and that's the last answer. You've hit the point where it's like there was an incredible book in, you know, Buddhism has Mahayana and Hinayana. Yeah, Hinayana is conservative Buddhism, mostly like in Burma, Thailand, Siam, Ceylon and stuff. And there they have a book. It's a trippy book where the Buddha explains the whole universe. I've had it, I've read it, it's incredible. He tells you everything about the universe. Yeah, just breaks it all down. Just completely. This last answer is sort of like the last page of that. You forget all of the explanation, but then there's been a huge loss of interest in wanting to get all the explanations. There's a freedom from needing to have the whole universe explained. It's incredible. Yeah, there's just a pregnant relief available. Yeah, where you're resting isn't like a diving board of agitation and anxiousness of like not getting what you want and losing what you have. It's just chilled. Because it's sound and it's not an assumed fact, and you're not huffing and puffing to make it seem to be so. It's actually the fact. Yeah, there's a rest that could never be mirrored like with 50 Thai massages. There's just a drop of a huge engine you don't even know you're being driven by. A huge engine of this drive of seeking. Yeah, not pants and coffees, but this nobleness of seeking the truth and the solution, all the while being ourselves reality. Yeah, so I found non-duality brought a lot of that stuff that still worked pretty well with all the other systems into stark contrast. And then instead of me questioning the 11 dimensions of the universe, there was a questioning of the way this thing goes about what's going on. Yeah, and I could see that it's a failed system concerning knowing fucking anything about what lies underneath it. Yeah, it just can't. I don't have the ability or the equipment to understand what I am from this aspect of what I'm not. It just doesn't work. Yeah, so the idea of going to 3 weeks of self-will or predestination is pointless to me. Yeah, because I still feel like I have self-will when I go into Starbucks. I think I can order a mocha or get the shot, double shot. Yeah, there goes the 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't care what the action figure believes. I don't. It's not burning houses down. It's not causing huge havoc. It can fucking shit on its own little pasture. I don't care. It's not doing much. Yeah, yes, I'm free from all that. Yeah, it's beautiful, really. What a freaking relief. The greatest knowledge is I don't know. Yeah? You can't reach above your pay scale. It doesn't work. Yeah? So I found through sitting in this position and sharing that I'd always get these complaints, not to me, but through the person who was running the door when I'd go on speaking tours. A lot of people would come up to them and say, I don't understand a word this guy's fucking saying. So this guy would ask me, and I said, well, then it's working, because I'm not trying to talk to them. I'm trying to talk through them. To me, I'm trying to get through that mitt, and I'm not pitching it to that mitt, yeah? The whole point is, if that presence, like when I grew up in Catholicism, they said God is omnipresent, or so this presence is everywhere, yeah? At all times. How can I miss it? I could throw it this way, nonchalant, yeah, yeah. You are an incredible small target, completely taken up with misunderstanding. There's no point to throw the ball of truth into that. It'll get swallowed up and made into something else. It will. But to throw it over one's head, that's when what you are hears about what it's not. Yeah? Just like when Huang Po, I would believe, this great Zen master, he was giving a talk. And one of the things I like about this guy, Huang Po, one of his followers was a scribe for the emperor's court in China. So this guy wrote down his talks like that night. So the guy was at the Huang Po thing, and it wasn't 300 years later. He wrote it down that night after he left satsang. So one of the statements, well, two of them, really is all you need to ever hear, which is, whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Yeah. So if you stop for a second and listen to the narration in your head, it's completely based on the opposite. The whole narration that we hear during the day is based on that which can be perceived is what's perceiving. Yes or no? When they're seeing, you feel you're the seer, don't you? There's a sense that you're the seer of when they're seeing. Yeah? And that sense takes form when it's remembered as a body. That's its form. So now, the seer has nothing to do with seeing. It has to do with a body. Doesn't it? It's amazing robbery, really. So they're seeing, that's happening. You know, I'm seeing all these different colors and everything. Seeing, mental state, runs into that, yeah? Claims the seeing, it believes the seeing implies there's a seer. Or it injects us with that belief. Who knows which is first, yeah? So the seeing, sort of like claimed or run into, that which runs into the seeing says the seeing, there's got to be a seer. Yeah? So now every time seeing, which is quite a lot, your whole basis of life, all of ours are based on those 5 gates: seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. So basically there's a lot of traffic in most people's day going through those 5 gates: seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. So this is a very great move, because that which doesn't exist uses the expression of existence to imply that you're the one that exists. Yeah. So something that doesn't exist is taken to be existing. Like Ramana Maharshi says, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing, which is this idea of being the seer, yeah? Existing by the claiming of the seeing. So the claiming of the seeing is sort of like the blood transfusion to the non-existent thing. So something that is happening is injected into something that ain't happening, and now the story is about what's not happening, yeah? By the claiming of what's happening. Now that's a pretty, so why would you want to look at the particular things not going your way when nothing goes your way? It's a complete, the whole basis is like flipped over. Yeah, that's why we say, you know, the horse in front of the cart. It's that extreme, yes? Let's say everything comes from the horse being in front of the cart. Now, right at that point, the first point in time, there's a story about the horse being in front of the cart that switches the whole thing. Now the cart is in front of the horse. And so you live your life based on a story. The cart is in front of the horse when it never has been, it never will be, it never was. It's always the horse in front of the cart. But we've been, it's almost like we're driving by the rearview mirror. We're driving backwards. Yes, that's insane. And then we wonder why shit happens. Wonder why in a life of active addiction, really, you're so totally out to lunch. You have no idea what's happening till it hits you in the face. I mean, you have no fucking prescience. You have no idea something bad's coming. You just walk thinking you got it going on. Boom, boom, boom. You're like in the hallway of shitting fans. You fucking, what's turning on these hot? Why? Why? Why is all this shit hitting me? You don't see your fucking rolling things. Yeah. And then begrudgingly, your light goes down the tubes and maybe you enter recovery. And the first big wave of recovery is to see your rolling things, finally. To really see, you know, oh, I had a story, this guy punched me in the face at the bar for no fucking reason, tell people for 30 years. Then I look at the video, half hour before I get punched in, I'm trying to make it with his girlfriend. oh, wait a minute. So my trying to make it with his girlfriend led him to punch me in the face. I forgot that part, yeah, my role, and I just put his role, yeah. So what happens when you look at your role in things? You're going to see something else's role in things. You're going to see there's a lot of things that have role in this thing you call yours. But that's another story, but that's more about recovery. But in a way, this is what happens. In time, an incredibly insane idea gains traction, which is the cart's in front of the horse, basically. Then we look, every time we enter any other topic in our lives, we don't see the big elephant in the room, which is having the cart in front of the horse. We're trying to figure, I gotta get some more horsepower and whatever, you know, and it makes total sense based on the fact, which isn't, that the cart is in front of the horse. Why not just look there? Why not look? You don't have to drive to look at the wave. You don't have to drive to the ocean to look at the wave. Look at the wave and see if it's so. If it ain't, damo, the ocean is going to be like Jesus says, like a thief in the night. It's already in your house. The suddenness of the realization of what you are is why you're missing it, because it's already here. You don't have the time to be able to recognize its appearance by its non-appearance. It's always so. That's why we're missing it. We don't see shit that's always here. You don't see shit that's always here. You don't. We don't know gravity, do you? You feel the effects of gravity all day, but you blame stairs or fucking Mount Tam or whatever for getting winded, but it wasn't Mount Tam, it was gravity. Yeah, and then so you can study as much as you like, but the best way to know the effects of gravity is to have them absent in your life. Go into an anti-gravity chamber and you'll realize, Jesus Christ, gravity's been influencing my whole life as an action figure. Voila. Yes? So here, many of us, we've looked at everything with the cart in front of the horse. And hopefully, we thought spirituality would fucking correct that. But the only aspect of spirituality I ever found that works is non-duality. Because it made it very clear. It pointed out, yeah, it described the cart in front of the horse. Yeah? And because I'm actually in the state of the horse in front of the cart, it started to land, yeah? And I saw what isn't so from what's so. How are you going to tell what's so from what's not so? We have that statement in recovery, false evidence is appearing real. How could a false evidence appear real all day? It would have to appear real to what's real. We must be being ourselves reality, lending reality to shit through a sense of ignorance about the horse being in front of the cart, so to speak, yeah? We're not saying the selfing is mechanical. It doesn't have to stop. There's no war to be waged. It's just recognizing it from prior, not after, yeah? It's just seeing it from where you start, not looking from it. Yeah, seeing it from where you start, and you start absent at that. You are completely whole without that addition, nor do we need it to be subtracted. What happens is there's a loss of interest in it. You lose interest in that mental activity. And that interest now enriches your life and your day instead of enslaving it to mental fucking shit all day. Yeah? You think a thought enslaves you? No. My thoughts enslave you. That's interest. Just like if you go to a park and kids are playing, 30 kids, the one you're going to look at is your kid. There's an interest that's going to go to that kid overriding the 29 other kids because it's yours, exactly. Yeah? You think this is your life, your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, and that's like a giant thoroughfare of directed attention and interest, and that's the bondage of self. That's it exactly. And when you try to use interest to get out of interest in self, that's more interest in self. Because you're using the interest as self to get out of self. Yeah? You see it? This is why it didn't work. If you set out on a course, a 2-year course to lose interest in self, that could be construed as interest in self. Yeah? Your wanting to get out makes the in bigger, really. Because the wanting to get out gets misdirected, and it reinforces the in that you'd like to get out of. The place to be out of it is before the in. You're inherently out of it. Yes? See, most of us are starting, I'm in the fucking cloud. I'm up the ass of the fucking cloud. Yeah? Non-duality starts as you're out of the cloud. You're not in any fucking cloud. The cloud may be appearing in you, but you're not in the cloud. Yeah? It just constantly, with all our misunderstandings, it brings it right up against the horses in front of the car. Yeah? That's what it does. Yeah? Can two things can happen at the same time? Yes, they can. There's timelessness that's happening at all times, and then there's things that are appearing in time that seem to be happening. So there are two things that are happening at the same time. Because there's no same time. There's time and there's not time. Yeah? And there is something that's always happening or never happening in not time. And then there's appearances that come and go in time. So there is truly two things happening at the same time. Yeah? So there's not like, all right, I've got to stop that one thing to accentuate the other. That's more of two things. Yeah? You just see you're not that. There's a loss of interest. It keeps doing what it's doing, and yet you're not beholden to it. Yes? So the loss of interest is just the starting point. You're going to have the joy of finding what interest brings you now. Yeah? When you lose interest in this, the rest of your life is the finding out. You don't need to have... There's not reporting back in every hour. You see what happens, yeah? And hopefully, in some form or another, this topic, which came about after looking at many other topics, is the last topic that there's a lot of interest in. Because it does the trick. You lose the need, you lose interest in the need to be liberated. You lose interest in the acquiring of knowledge. You lose interest because all of that was presented as, you're going to step out with this. You're not. You're never getting out of what you're not as what you're not. It's just that freaking simple. Yeah? So there's a great futility that leads to an incredible hallelujah. Yeah? Yeah. Because the futility is not of us, it's of what we're not. It's a program. Thank God it's not AI. I don't see it as artificial intelligence. It doesn't up its game. It doesn't need to. It seems to work pretty well. You'll never be loved, or whatever. It keeps you fucking tithing fear all day. There's a big thing's going to happen to you. I'll worry about it and ain't shit. Please, don't let that big thing happen. You're just living under a fucking false god. Yeah. Yeah. You call it you, but it doesn't have your interest at heart at all. Yeah, I saw it when I was young. I was in my little opium den in Rockville Center, and we were going to go to a Rod Stewart concert. I always tell it. And we all dropped acid, and then as I was leaving, my head said to me, or said to whatever was there, I think I'm going to take 7 downs. So I'm on 2 hits of acid. 7 downs would probably put me in a physical duress, like, dying, yeah? It came up against this belief I had, isn't there a huge instinct called natural preservation? Yeah, I mean, this thing is not looking to preserve me one bit. It's just basically giving me a formula to kill myself. on the acid. So I started getting early hints that something was seemingly living at the same time I was here, but had a completely different agenda and than I did. Or maybe I didn't even have an agenda, but it definitely had one, yeah? And you could see it. We always use it when, if someone's riding an expensive bike and you go off the road, what did they try to save? The bike. They could give a shit about them. You know, you'll fall off the cliff, but I saved my $1,000 bike. You don't see something suspicious, yes, by what seems to be running the show. So, yeah. Hey, everyone, I hope that didn't help. And, yeah, I sincerely do. You've had enough help. That's the last thing you need. Really. We're all addicted to help. Most people can ask for it unbelievably, but they don't even stay around to receive it. So. Now, it's the Muji police again. Fucking throw those books away. Throw those books away. We're getting raided. Yeah. So let me read you one thing from this guy I love. He says it here. I don't know. It may not even be Hoangpo, but I think this is beautiful. So just give up your notions of unenlightened and enlightened. Or just admit you're not the one who has those. Yeah, there's just ideas of enlightened and unenlightened. Where does it say there's someone who has those ideas of enlightened and unenlightened? There's just those ideas. You don't have to give them up. Just give up the one who thinks they have those ideas. Yeah, yeah, and that's easy because there isn't. So there's no effort in giving it up, is there? I don't see it. So just give up your notions of unenlightened and enlightened. Then you might recognize that which is here to begin with. Oh, yes. That you might recognize that which is here to begin with. It's your crazy thinking that is your biggest impediment. See, I don't think that's true. I think it's the ownership of the thoughts that's the biggest impediment. Yeah? Yeah. I think the power of thought and my thought are completely different. The owning of a thought has a lot more oomph than thought. Yes? Yeah. Because thoughts come and go. I have a thought, it's usually not here 10 minutes later. Right? I have a thought, oh, I'd like to have ice cream. It's usually gone, and maybe I want to have tiramisu, or why did that fuck person get the ice cream? Whatever, you know. But the my is a lingering ownership. No matter what size or shape or topic the thought's about, the my will cling to each one, and that will be the biggest influence the thought will ever have on you, is the mind. So what would happen is, if you saw these crazy thoughts as not yours, would you need or be really motivated to do anything about it? I wasn't. When I thought they were mine, I was completely motivated to do something, I thought, yeah? Without noticing that the mind wasn't essential or a real fact in the observation, it was an add-on, I was seeing every thought as mine. Yeah? And it was the mind that was the bonding agent. Because the thoughts come and go. But the mind kept getting reinforced, and that is what seemingly stayed, is the mind. Yeah? So every thought was implying this mind, and the mind, having no existence, would almost find one by the constant claiming, and it would linger way past the thoughts. Yeah? So, in the way I would read this is, the crazy thoughts, it's your crazy thinking. See, I would put the emphasis on yours. And then it would be just, it's crazy thinking. Yeah? The your is the biggest impediment. That's how I would read it. Sorry, Hoangpo. Sorry, I'm breaking away here. But, if I really looked at it, that's what I would emphasize. I would emphasize fucking what? this place needs entertainment. Crazy thinking is cool in a lot of ways, as long as it's not yours. So that is your biggest impediment. You hold on to all kinds of distorted ideas. That's the rope of mind. The umbilical cord that connects the thoughts is the mind. It's a sense of being the doer of shit you have nothing to do with. Yeah? So, onto all kinds, all right, that is your biggest impediment. You hold on to all kinds of distorted ideas. So how do you hold on to them? Through mind. Yeah? You do not hold on to other people's distorted ideas often. Yeah? Stanley, but there's a whole lot of holding on to ideas that have the you involved, yes? The you is sort of like, it gives life to the thought, yeah? To the idea. So, all kinds of distorted ideas and compare one thing with another without end. Your thoughts fiercely chase after all kinds of things, just like mad hornets stirred from their nest. There is no such thing as illusion. This is important, yeah? Because if you believe there's a dream and you're in it, that's the essence of duality. The dream would be the object and you'd be the subject in it. There is no dream, there's dreaming. It's an activity. There's no dream and there's no dreamer. There's dreaming, dreaming. Dream, dreamer would be subject, object. That's what duality is negating, that. That understanding of the idea of dream as dreamer, dream, that's the understanding of non-duality is the negation of that understanding. To understand dream and dreamer, taking it out of the act of dreaming is the misunderstanding that non-duality is negating. Yeah. So he goes, there is no such, all right, there is no such thing as illusion. Okay? Illusion is itself illusory. Yeah? It's only there because you have invented it. I would take you out of that. Your head has invented it. Yeah? Your head has invented it. Your head has invented it, or made it, let's say. The Course in Miracles would be they'd be a big stickler on this one statement. They said the mind of man makes, the mind of God creates. Yeah? Different. So this illusory machine makes shit up. It can't create anything. It makes stuff up. Yes? So these illusions are made up by what we're not. In a way, to hide the illusory nature of that. See, because you may catch that being made up, but you won't catch this as the one that was made up. Yeah? This illusion you take to be real, and then you look and find, I'm seeing through all the illusions, but you're not seeing through this illusion. It's pointless to see through the other illusions. This is the big one, let's say. Yeah? It's only there because you have invented it. See? You don't have to take ownership. There's something invented. It's not you. Fucking far out. Yeah? All that responsibility, all the sacrifice, all the martyrdom, no, it had nothing to do with me. So it's only there because you have invented it. If you would simply give up your dividing this from that, what is that but duality? Yes? Let's say the world is ing, seeing, hearing, feeling, laughing, crying, yes? There are all these activities. They're verbing, let's say, yeah? That's a given. And then the mental state runs into that and implies a noun, a long-lasting, independent, sort of like stationary thing that has the attributes of spirit, but it is a body. Yeah, it's a trippy manufacturing. Yeah? That's duality, yes? Something that divides, usually that's duality. So here's verbing divided into verb noun. That's the essence of it. That's the essence of non-duality, the negation of that. So this isn't about starting to understand non-duality. It's realizing that which you're not can't understand non-duality. That's great. Yeah, so you don't waste any more time, and you just look at what you're not, how you're built, because you're not built that way, actually. Yeah, and then what occurs, you may still be the same old asshole, but you'll travel lighter through it, really. You know? It won't mean that much. And if I make a lot of mistakes, which I do, I try to make amends and say I'm sorry, and I'll try better, you know? It's not like I have to do 40 years of mea culpa. I'm not that important, you know? Yeah, so, yes, so that's, I'm hoping it gets through to the intended target, which I know I can't miss. But you have to see it, that why is a lot of pursuit of non-duality end up in failure? Because that's how it succeeds, yeah? When there's still a reliance on what you're not, non-duality is not going to budge with that. It's not going to compromise with that. It's not going to feel compassion for that. It's just not going to give it anything. You're not going to get it. And that's that. It's not like the dog, my puppy, presents a rope to me, you know, right at the dinner table, but he knows I'm going to break, yeah? But non-duality doesn't. It's not going to give it to you. No, it ain't. Yeah. Now, people in the umbrella of non-duality may feel compassion, but the message doesn't. The message is basically, you're not that. I hope it's like that, because if it bends, like Ramana said with that story with people who had been with him for a while, and they were talking amongst themselves like who could teach, if they could teach, and he walked in and they asked him, he said, oh yeah, all of you can teach, but I don't recommend it. So they were a little confused, and he said, yeah, because of compassion, and they were confused with that, and he says, yeah, you'll be speaking in front of a group of people and you'll feel compassion and you'll dilute the message. That's what happens, yeah? What do you mean dilute the message? You'll allow it, you'll make it palatable to duality. Yeah? And now it'll become a new skillful means, and then you'll start adding it to other things like therapy and do non-duality therapy and all this shit. And there you go. Yeah? When the real gift of it is nothing. Yeah? It's just it puts you on the dime. Yeah? You see the emperor has no clothes. Try not to make that clothes, and then, yeah, see what happens. And maybe, you know, I find it's so damn practical here because, you know, the acute irritability you may feel now comes from the base of where we're living from. It's not the particulars. It's an echo from underneath. And I'm telling you, I found that I was living with the cart in front of the horse. Completely. Yeah, I was using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. I was trying to get out of self as self, basically. There was no me doing it, but that's what was happening. I was stuck in that Chinese thumb torture thing. And the more I moved, and it made no sense not to move, it tightened. So I had no fucking way out. Not moving seemed to be totally not fucking work. No fucking way. Oh, let me get subtle. No, you just can't do it. You know what I mean? It just responds to the me. It's sort of like in Zen they say, you know, the blink of an eye is like, that 1 second can be 10,000 fucking years. This head lives as if it's distant from what we are. It does. It can only, in its understanding, there's going to have to take time. Because I am somewhere that I have to get somewhere else to. Yes? It's going to take time. It doesn't get. As long as it's in this, it can't get, or identifies this, that there's anything else here other than this. So for me, to get to God, it's going to be a getting to God. I'm going to, yes? It's stubborn as hell. Yeah. All right. Anyone have a question there? Have you been able to hear from here?
Yes.
Here?
Yeah, very clear.
All right. Everyone fell asleep here, so they're all having the dessert. So let's go.
Sounds like there's a lot of folks out there. Well,
There's a
lot of people out there. Are there a
No.
lot?
Well, we offer some guy. He came in for the coffee. See that guy back there? Yeah. We got some stale donuts. He came in for that.
He's lying, no coffee, no donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, we used to have a meeting here for years, and we're just starting up. We don't have it on the website, but we will. So yeah, we like it. So, anyone have any questions there? These people do not. I haven't been able to discipline any of you, but they've been at the Paul Hedderman Behavioral Discipline School. Questions? All right, so Jim, if anyone wants to ask anything?
Yeah, nobody hailing, Paul. Nobody.
Oh, no one's raising their hand. Oh, that's
Oh, there it is. So Krish is hailing on the opening channel.
greatest success.
Hi, Paul.
At a pause. A pause is never left. There's an exhaling of the belief in arriving, and then there's the sense. Yeah, it's not cause and effect. You have not caused the effect of pause. Yeah, pause is not an effect. It's inherently there. Seriously, most seriously. Yeah. So,
Krish, go ahead.
Hi, Paul.
hey.
You see me? Long time no see.
Oh,
Good. I was going to say, when you mentioned about, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, brilliant. When you mentioned about Huang Po and Ramana Maharshi, you call them masters, spiritual masters. What is the difference in your eyes between a spiritual master and a normal non-dual speaker or a non-dual teacher, between a master and can you hear me?
They're dead, thank God.
No, I know. What do you think is the distinction between the two?
What?
What do you think is the distinction between a spiritual master and a normal non-dual speaker or a normal non-dual teacher? When you talk about Ramana, and Huang Po, you call them Zen masters, spiritual masters. What's the difference between a master and a non-dual speaker, like your modern day non-dual speaker? What would you?
I don't know. I don't know any non-dual speakers. Seriously. I haven't listened to anyone since 2000 or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
One or two. So I don't know. But probably I wouldn't call them masters. I would call them Bill or Jim or Mary. Hopefully not, super. No. I don't know. I don't see any difference, dead or alive.
Okay.
I don't really care about so much the people. It's more the message, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I used to hear the messages, some of the people had more of an affirmation methodology that didn't work for me.
Cool.
I didn't want to hear. It didn't work. People sharing that all that I am and all that they are is consciousness. Without the underlying negation, that didn't go well. So, yeah.
Cool.
So it's different flavors, I would imagine. What works for you? If you have a certain quality of heartfeltness and stuff, you may not want to see Paul Hedderman. Who knows? If you want to believe that the lion can get that it's a lion by hearing it's a lion, then far out, maybe it will work. My own experience was negation sort of was the way, which there is no way in that, yeah? And so, because our group didn't become a, you know, a massive global popularity thing, it's able to keep it pretty clear and clean, yeah? So basically, people who saw me years ago, they get the exact same thing now that they got years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know any people. What would be an abnormal non-duality teacher? You said normal ones. Which are the abnormal ones?
Yeah, no, obviously, but yeah, no, but we don't see them as masters, though. We don't call them masters like today's spiritual whoever's talking about non-duality. We don't refer to them as masters. So obviously, we're making a distinction between a master and.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, distinction doesn't mean anything is distinct. It's just a way of life would be dry in a lot of ways. You got to add a little bit of flair, or you know, use some more than two colors in the palette, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
my girlfriend calls me master every day.
But that has another meaning.
Someone's busily kissing my feet right now. I don't know. I don't know why. I just probably because they're seemingly dead, and I have a lot of reverence because they helped me a lot. I never met them, obviously, but I felt like I gotten infected by a spirit they represented, and Huang Po has been with me a long time. I got introduced to his writings, his teachings pretty young, and he worked for me. Yeah, he was very succinct and clear, and I like that. And Ramana Maharshi moved me enough to want to go to where he lived, and I visited. He has obviously passed away,
Yeah.
or ended, or transitioned. But I went to where he lived, and I went to where he stayed in the caves, and uh, you know, is it my imagination or the energy of the place? It doesn't matter. It was just nice to feel it all. Yeah, and yeah, it's nice to have reverence for people. Yeah,
Yeah, I
usually
agree.
it's easier for dead ones, yeah, because they may not bother you, but but I like reverence, yeah. And when I was introduced to non-duality, some people had a big impact on in their books, like Ramesh Balsekar. So I went to see him.
Mhm.
I didn't. I went by myself and just felt like he was getting old, and I thought he'd pass away. And I said, "Man, he's a person I'd like to see before," because I was feeling the novelty of non-duality was very, very profound in me. For me, its message is completely different than almost anything else I ever heard, and uh, it really and when it went into the mental logic, it would clang around a lot. It made a lot of noise up there, which I thought was great. Because a lot of shit would just get adapted to the mental logic, but this little idea just was pinging all over, and I'd read a page and I'd just stop in my tracks, and I'd just have like an avalanche happen. Like my whole house of cards was like falling sort of in the background, and I was like, go back to that sentence, and it'd be that's why I use them now, because they had so much sense feltness in my life. Every time I mention you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, the echo of those avalanches occur. Yeah, yeah. So I haven't read those books in years, but I've never forgot those statements because they were, that statement just encapsulated like a fucking, like a ground diamond, you know, it's just beautiful. That just really, you don't see the mental state. The selfing is an activity. It's got momentum, it's got speed, it's got stuff. And a lot of things the mental state will adapt to and claim and suck it in. Non-duality was the only thing that put it into stark contrast. It just, I saw what I wasn't so fucking clearly when my eyes were adjusted through a couple of these books, you know? And that's why I call those people masters. Because I saw things differently. I didn't try to see things differently, I just saw them differently. And things were revealed that there wasn't necessary to have it revealed anymore. It was just done. I just, fuck, you know? This is like an unspoken yes. It came to be the last answer. You know, obviously the way I seemingly was, the way I was contorted before, couldn't imagine it would have looked this way because it would have more of itself in the picture, where it doesn't play a big role in the picture. It always played a big role in whatever picture it was trying to get to. Yeah? In this case, there was a loss of interest in Paul, not a building up of interest in Paul. Yeah? Yeah. So, hats off to non-duality, and you know, whatever understanding I may have of it, I try to stay as devoted to it as possible. Yeah. Because I just feel, you know, there's so many beautiful things, and then people come around, you know, and then the people turn it into something, and you can see that happening with non-duality in a lot of ways. Yeah, it can become something. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's nothing, and it's just a fact. You've run up against it, and just don't. Why would you want to keep questioning that fact for the assumed fact? Question the assumed fact from that fact. Yeah, that's what we're saying in these talks. Everyone's trying to question the fact from the assumed fact. Let's question the assumed fact from the fact. Yeah? Is this a fact for you? Is there a thing that's separate from every other thing? And we're all going to meet up in the great collective thingness and then be absorbed in the one? I don't believe so. I don't. I don't see it that way. Yeah? I see this as dreaming. I don't believe this is really happening. Does that mean I kick people or step on dogs or shit? No. There's conditioning I have, but I just don't see this as real. I don't. I think things come and go, and effects occur, and changes all the time. But basically, the underlying condition, which I can't see, I can't grab, is just so dominant in its yeah. Well, so any other questions? Yes, don't worry, you know, I'll call him Mr. Maharshi now. Mr. Maharshi and Mr. Poe. Hwang, maybe I was taking it too liberal. Mr. Poe.
Hey, Paul, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, my question was well formulated before we just went through that. Interesting to hear you mention the dream, the concept of the dream, having earlier said the dreamer was part of the illusion. So I'm going to try to get back to my question. The premises were, the question derives from the comments you've made about the dreamer, about subject, object, about who and what. And I know that you don't like to talk about what we are because that's identification and a lot of other things. But
Because I don't really. Yeah. I really can't, I don't know how, it's hard to get a beat on beingness. It's so big,
it-
hard to sort of, yeah.
yeah, and so that was what one of my questions is. It's the same question, is being the beer also illusionistic, or is it? I mean, there's no either or, and I know it's not black and white. It seems to me like non-duality is all subject all the time. I mean, object is the illusion here. And so that gets into what I am. And it was helpful to me at some point to switch my language up as I transition to the awareness that I'm currently in, from who I am, right? Because to what I am, and I know that you don't even like to talk about about that exactly, because it's what I am is beingness, and indefinable, like a spiritual experience. Words are inadequate to describe it. So is it about subject is being, right? The subject object dualism, subject is being, yes?
Yes,
No?
but in the dualism, the subject's taken to be the object. This is the trickiness. So let's
Right.
change the word subject and call it subjectivity. Yeah, so subjectivity is what's happening. But in the identification as object, part of that is the subject, which is an object pictured as having the attributes of subjectiveness. Yes? So when we're talking about subject object, it isn't just getting rid of object, the whole subject object thing, both. Yeah. Yes? Do you see this our sense of subjectiveness here has been affiliated through the mental activity with the body. So that's negated. Yeah, so it's subject object both are negated, not, yeah, because now subjectivity isn't that getting negated, but the subject is subjectivity claimed as an object. So they both go out, yes? Yeah. You see it?
Yes, I do. So then I'm left with being, Paul.
Well, yeah, well yeah, there you go.
So being as the beer is not an illusion like being the dreamer as the dreamer, right?
Well, there's not a beer, yeah, so there's being, yeah?
Okay. Yes.
Yes,
Right.
there's no beer. Yeah, let's cut out the ERs, because they end you up in an emergency room. Okay. ING. Yeah. So being. So let's say, uh, would there would there need to be any explanation from the river if it's constantly rivering? Yeah, that's why I don't like speaking about it. Because it's sort of like trying to freeze a moment in an everlasting fucking activity. So just put, I find just it works just to, see, let's say you gain a lot of interest in being, but as the beer. So therefore, again, what you're not gets reinforced with the love of what you are. Yeah, I just want to see that I'm not that, and then just find out the rest. Yeah, just travel lighter. I mean, shit. Yeah, I thought I was a smart dude at one time. I saw that as futile also. It's good for humor, but it tends to go into sarcasm or something. It can get a little. if you're not from back east, it can bother people, California. Whatever. But whatever, yeah. I'm willing to do that sadistically anyway. So, yeah, I just, I don't feel like, a lot of times, they used to have a name in Buddhism, like mental candy, you know, like going off on this 12 dimensions of fucking 48 cubic little facets of the diamond of absoluteness shining through. I don't feel like that when I drive by fucking CVS, you know, or Walmart or something. So I just want to just keep it simple. I'm pointing out that there's an activity that seems to have gotten a little unruly, and we're getting suffocated by its repetitive interpretation of what's going on. And you know, I'm too old. I don't want to jump off a bridge with a bungee cord anymore. I can't shoot cocaine in my neck. I'd fucking die. I mean, so I had to find another way. And this is how it worked. I lost interest in the need to be liberated. I lost interest in, I may miss out on the clarity of all clarities, so what? You know, I am clarity. Like, you know, so, and it's working. And that's why I share it. I hope, yeah. It's in there. You've been served a spiritual subpoena. It's going to take its own, it's going to look the way it's going to look through you. It doesn't have any look. It's based on how it's being looked through, yeah? It's just empty. Yeah, so you're gonna be the provider. See you, bro. Get the donut, bro. Don't leave without the donut. All right. So, yeah, my old friend from Baldwin, Long Island. Yeah. First time I saw him, I thought I owed him money, so I had to duck. I didn't see him well. My old habit. All right, hey, any questions, more questions? Yeah. No? Oh, great.
Nobody hailing.
I thought it was a really nice day, hey? Everything good?
Yes, it is.
The loss of interest leads to a great amount of interest, yes? It's not just the loss of interest. But why would I want to ruin the ride by telling you what it would look like when you gain interest in other things? Find out. You know, I hate when someone goes to a good movie and then tells me the ending, you know? So here, it's a good movie. You're on a fucking good ride. Yeah. Hey, all right, any other questions? Oh, there's some of my favorite people.
Hey, Paul, I was wondering
Paul.
if I could just comment. I was lucky enough to have some major spiritual experiences. One was like a download, another one was like a presence, but they all happened when I wasn't trying. And I got involved with the Course in Miracles, got into all the heavy hitters of non-duality, and I find only lately am I finding peace because I'm not so hung up on the end result. And when I tried to do Ramana Maharshi's, you know, who are you? I kept going back to my childhood. Well, I got a different body. I'm a different person. What was the same? And the only thing I could come up with was awareness. And I was wondering, I know the vernacular can really throw people off because there's so many things that mean the same thing. But,
Yeah.
you know, I've heard a lot of people talk about how the awareness, I is a door, abide in the I am. I don't know. I wonder if you had any thoughts on that route.
Well, thank God I don't have any thoughts, but awareness is a nice one because it sort of isn't charged with so much meaning, like with love and other things. I like awareness, but again, the real sense of it is being aware, the activity of it, not awareness, you know? I feel the effort of awareness doesn't demonstrate any effort, but there's a being aware. Yeah, and that to me is more than enough than a topic called awareness. But yes, and I feel like actually, no matter what's going on, we are abiding in that. Our interest, the interest and attention that makes things seem to be what they are, maybe on the surface, but the fact that is that we never left the depth. Yeah, that's my feeling. So I believe we're the inherent abiding in that. And then here, you can seem to be awake to being awake, or you can seem to be asleep to being awake. Those are more like experiences, but the fact is awakeness. Yeah. So, of course, it seems valuable here when seeming to be awake may be a lot more relaxing than being, seemingly being asleep. So, yeah, hearing satsangs and stuff like that can help in reminding you of you're seemingly awake. But the fact is, there's no reminding you of the fact. You are the fact. You are awake. That's awakeness. That's what we are. We're not acquiring something that we're foreign to. Yeah? So I feel that's the basic line. And yeah, on Monday you can feel like you're totally asleep. On Tuesday you'll feel like you're awake. Maybe Tuesday will probably go better when you're feeling like you're awake than when you're asleep. Hopefully you'll lean more to the awakeness. But ultimately, all that shit comes and goes, and the basis or the context is awakeness. Yeah? So it may not look like, some people, you may not look like you're sober, but you're sober. You haven't drank, haven't used in 30 years. You sure don't look like it, but they're sober. So if they go through not looking like it, the next day they may really look like it. Oh, fuck it, yeah? Because they're sober. Yeah, it always gives you the option, if you're sober, to be sober. Yeah, if you drink, that sets off a whole other situation. Yeah, so here, I feel, the I am, whatever we were saying, the awareness is the inherent context that none of us have lost a bit of. Yeah, and yet we're like playing around on the surface of the water, splashing each other and forgetting and remembering, but like, when I saw this guy Ramesh Balsekar when I was in India, somebody years later sent me a video, and it was of that day I was there. And so when you used to go see him, he was bored talking to the same people, so if you were new, they'd have you sit in a chair and you would have a talk with him, so he could get his, prime the fucking satsang pump, so to speak. Yeah. So I was the new person, and so I'm watching this video. I go, why did this person send me this video? And then I hear me, being a wise guy, talking to Ramesh, and then he starts saying, he says, Paul, what do you do? And I said, not much. And he said, all right, what do you do to make money? I said, whatever. House painter. He says, all right, so do you have a place to live back home? I go, yeah. And he says, all right, so when you go to, and he's talking about impersonal presence as meaning the context, and personal presence, which is really meaning the context, but it's appearing to be content, yes? So he says, all right, so the impersonal presence is sort of like you have a house, right? So you go to work. Now, are you worrying that you don't have a house while you're working? You know you have a house. So do you have to keep remembering you have a house when you're at work? No. I have faith. I have a house. Yeah? Yeah, he says the same thing. Why try to remember the impersonal presence as the personal presence, all the while being the impersonal presence? Yes? Just fucking do your job. You got a house. You go at home. You see? It was beautiful, and I heard it with new ears, because I don't know how I took it back then, but I knew how I took it when I heard it. I said, that was a really cool talk. Because this idea of, a lot of us believe the presence we're looking for is a personal presence. and it's still dependent on the personal. Like it's me that's going to keep this presence up. That's not the house you're in. The house you left to be here hasn't gone anywhere. That's the impersonal presence. Yeah? Doesn't need to be remembered because it can't be fucking forgotten. Yeah? All like that. You see? So he made a very important point, because a lot of people taking themselves to be the personal presence are trying to keep remembering the impersonal presence as the personal presence, which is just reinforcing the fucking personal presence. You see it? You see it? You see it. It's there. This is the problem with practices and stuff. You're trying to remember something you never fucking forgot. And you're using that which can't be forgotten to remember. This is the... None of these aren't like fucking under glass, autopsies of a dead frog. Apply it to your day. That's what's happening. If I'm sitting here trying to remember I'm presence, that's only coming from the identification as the personal fucking presence. That's all. It's not... The impersonal ain't doing it. The impersonal ain't behind that drive. Yeah? It just is. Yeah? And the fact is, while at work, you still have the house. You going to work doesn't mean no house. Yeah. You don't have to keep remembering, I have a house, I have a house, I have a house. You have a house. Tuck around, do what's going, yeah. All right, did everyone get that, I hope? Good, I can see my friend Sonia, she's that nod convinced me to end the day. That's good. Worked out, yes. Thank you, Sonia. You gave the stamp of receiving the subpoena. All right, let's say goodbye to everybody. Yes, Jim?
Very good.
Jim, doing very good. You're like the guy that used to be on Star Trek, not the captain. I'm the captain. Don't forget that. You're doing a good job. We got John.
Aye,
John,
aye,
you had
Captain.
a day. Yeah, it's good to see you awake, seemingly.
Thank you, Paul. Good to see you.
Judith and Kerry, please don't forget us over there in Hawaii. See you. Oh, there you go.
How can I forget someone who I revere with my heart?
That's right. Good. Yes. Well, Amelia's holding. Amelia will be happy. It'll be nice to see you guys sooner or later.
Likewise. I love to see Amelia and get in the kitchen with her and cook some wonderful meals.
I'm hoping she'll be in the kitchen cooking a meal tonight. All right. Let's see. There's who's this? Ron R. Nice to see you, Ron.
Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome, my friend. We got Joe. Nice to see you, Joe. OS. We got Robert French. Robert. Hey, Robert, what time would it be? Robert, what time would it be in New Zealand if we moved the meeting to 12 o'clock, noon?
It would be about 6 in the morning. 5 in the morning.
I'm going to try to come up with a new time, but maybe we'll keep this time. You'll be on
I'm
the...
awake. I'm always awake at that time anyway.
What?
I'm awake at 5 in the morning anyway.
Yeah, all right, good. Well, all right, Robert. I'll talk with you this week. We'll see what we're going to do.
Okay. Thanks.
Nice
Thanks,
to see you.
Paul.
Yes. Nice to see you, Matt, over there. Yeah. We've got, Glenda O'Driscoll. Yes. Nice to see you, Glenda. We got Gio. I'm going to have to call you Mr. Poe now, Gio. Yeah. I can't say Hawaiian Po. Mr. Poe. Anu. Nice to see you, Anu. All's well? You doing okay? Yes? Good. We got, Dana? Is that Dana? Dana, nice to see you. Oh yes, nice to see you again, hon. We got Terry from Maine, always a pleasure. Linda S, as always. Roman and Johannes, two of my German friends. We got Kenneth from Vancouver, yes. We got Tariq from Dover, New Jersey, always a pleasure, yes. We got, just lost Tariq, what happened there? All right, we got him. We've got Elaine and Carl, nice to see you too, yes. We got Chris N, nice to see you, Chris. We got Jacob from Seattle, always a pleasure. We got Vlad, he's in Portugal now. Nice to see you, Vlad. Yep.
Great to see you. Oh, thank you.
We'll see you soon. We're gonna see you when we're in Italy. We'll work something out. Yeah.
Okay. Can we speak later, or maybe I will call you on a week?
Yeah, call me up on WhatsApp. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good, man. Good.
We got Steve T. Nice to see you again, Steve. We got, oh, there they are, Sarah and Alex. The Hudson Valley. They've been winning the beauty queen of Hudson Valley for 20 straight years, since they started at 12. Yeah. They just switch each year, Alex and Sarah, Sarah, Alex, Alex, Sarah. Yeah, pretty nice. See you, gals. We got Ben C., the poet laureate of Zen Bitch Slap.
Hi, Paul.
Nice to see you, Ben. Mike C., nice to see you, Mike. We got Henk from Amsterdam. We always appreciate Henk visiting us. Yes, a man of great wisdom. Finds himself in the wrong country. What can you do? We got Sonia. Nice, Sonia. She ended this whole talk. Beautiful, Sonia.
I'm also from Portugal, so if you come here, I'll speak with Vlad also.
Oh, good. Yes, we're gonna do something because we won't be that far from Italy. I was thinking I may do something in Spain for a couple of days.
Okay.
Well, maybe you'll have to come to Italy. Who knows? The boss just told me. No Portugal for me. All right. Well, Mark and Lorraine, nice to see you, Mark.
Hi, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Nice to you. Thank you, Mark. And there's Nan. Thank you, Nan, for your lovely words last week. Thank you. Always good to see you. We got Connor, 100%. No, Connor is, he's 98% Irish, I think. Maybe 1 or 2% lost there. We got Helen from the Northland of England. Yes. Helen is living large. I'm happy. Yeah. Uh-oh, we got a whole, Shalene, she got the whole family here. There they are. Nice to see you guys. Yes, yes. We got Chris, always a pleasure to see Chris. Nice to see you, Chris. We got Stefan on Having Never Left. We got Marty, yes, there he is. We got Nick. Nice to see you, Nick. You look like someone else I know. You look a little like Noah, but you're Nick. Nick Moore. Oh, all right. We got John R. from the east coast of Australia, where I want to be, where we want to be. Yes, not right now, though. A little cold. Norman, Germany, fantastic. We've got one of our outposts in Kentucky. We got Chris. He's watching the fort over there. Nice to see you, Chris. Yeah. We got Shalyn, Chris, Anu, Zlatko here, Norman, John R. All right, thank you, everyone.